Hey guys, it's Shakina here. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm coming to you guys today from the beach, and the message I want to share today is about discernment. So this message came on my heart from some life experiences that I had where at the time I wasn't aware that even as a nice person, you had to exercise discernment with who you're nice to, who you share your resources with, and even who you allow into your space. So I bring up discernment because one of my purposes in this lifetime is to be in community with others, share my lived experiences with others to help them grow on their journey. And in doing that, sometimes you expose yourself to individuals that don't have the best intentions when surrounding themselves around you. And, to be transparent, one of my last connections, someone I was in proximity to and shared a part of my life with, seen all of the resources and things that I had, at my disposal. And they decided to take advantage of me, for the resources that I could offer them. And not only was this a lesson for me, it was a wake up call because sometimes we think energy will come back to you. And there are some parts of that that I do believe are true. I do think that when you share your energy into the world, the way karma works, it comes back to you in the form of other people exchanging their energy with you. But I think the issue with doing that arises when you share your energy without any guardrails or boundaries around how you're sharing it. And I do think that's really important. Luckily, I was able to learn what boundaries were in my early adulthood life. So that helped me navigate many different situations without pushing myself um, to a point where I feel like I was being taken advantage of. But I also feel like there was some learning on my behalf of, you know, if you go into a situation with good intentions, you shouldn't really have to care about, you know, who you're giving it to because everybody deserves goodness. And I'm not going to say that's not true. That is very true. I do think that everyone does deserve to experience good things. However, sometimes they might not just be in the season of when they're supposed to experience good things. You could be blocking or stopping the lesson that the universe is delivering to that person in that season in light of you trying to share your blessings with that person. And you have to remember, right? When God gives you a blessing, sometimes that blessing is just for you. And that's okay, right? Sometimes the blessings that He gives us is big enough to share with others as well. But you also have to be aware of when a blessing is specifically for you and you're so focused on giving to other people that you're not realizing the reason other people are around is because God is sending them to you as a blessing. So I just wanted to highlight, just having discernment, being able to know how much to give, what to give, and what not to give when it comes to other people and sharing your energy because, our energy is all we really have. A lot of people say, oh, time and money is obviously a thing of the material world, but we cannot receive time and money without exchange of our energy, which is why I say energy is the most important currency within our consciousness. So when I say, to exercise discernment, this really means to just be mindful of allowing people to show you who they are before you willingly just go in and, exert your energy or expend your energy to that person. And this topic stems from, just lived experiences, things that I've had to go through where I didn't know that having discernment was important, even when it comes to being nice, right? I've obviously witnessed other people be really nice and be really generous and get taken advantage of, but I guess I'm looking at it from the capacity of when you're pursuing someone romantically, because sometimes we get so wrapped up in our idea of who we want someone to be, we expend the energy on them, not knowing that they might not have the best of our intentions in mind. And it can delay us from, our destiny and on our path and our journey when we're so focused on including someone into what we have going on without seeing if they're really invested into who we are, right? So I just wanted to, you know, talk about the topic of discernment today, because I feel like sometimes, even when it comes to family members and friends, sometimes we think, oh, because this person is my friend or because they're my family, um, they have my best interest. And unfortunately, there are times where that's not the reality of it. Sometimes people can see you as an opportunity, and once they've received what they came for, they're out the door just as quick. So, just having discernment in all of your connections when it comes to romantic partners, friends, family, um, and even strangers. I think it's easier for us to exercise our discernment when it comes to strangers, because we don't really know them, or where their stance is when it comes to being in proximity to us. Obviously, exercising your boundaries isn't always an easy thing to do when you don't necessarily start off in a circumstance or an environment where boundaries are heavily regarded naturally, right? So when you're just starting them with, people that knew you before you had boundaries, it's a very uncomfortable conversation to have, because essentially you're telling them, no. And of course, when people hear you say no, if you've always said yes before, that can be, a little bit alarming because they're used to you saying yes. But I feel like in the end, our goal in this lifetime is to make sure that we're doing things that help our souls grow and learn the lessons that we're supposed to learn in this lifetime. And sometimes that lesson can be learning how to say no, learning how to take care of yourself, learning how to be independent, learning how to collaborate with others, learning how to be you. And, one of the things that I've learned about when you choose to be you, that could make other people uncomfortable, because unfortunately, in the world that we live in, that's not a normal thing that people are encouraged to do. Most people are encouraged to do what that is expected of them under the pretense that, it will be acceptable to society. But when you live in the spotlight of what society tells you should do, that makes you very hesitant to step outside of the box. And I hate to break it to you guys, but stepping outside of the box is the only thing that is going to allow you to tap into the highest version of who you were destined to be. So, with that being said, I'm going to end it off here. I hope you guys had an amazing week. Um, and you continue to have the day that you deserve. Talk to you guys later. Bye.